Hi everybody, my name is Katie Jones, and here are just some books that I've been reading throughout this quarantine that I feel like everyone could read. They're super easy, and I've been able to read them over the course of 2 weeks, in between doing things that I love, such as cooking and baking and going outside for walks with my dog. Video gaming a lot, of course, but these books have been really good reads, and they're super easy, and they touch on a lot of different topics, so I feel like I would really like to share some of them. So this is called Highly Logical Behavior. It touches on some deep anxiety. It is by John Corey Whaley. It is a National Book Award finalist and a winner of the Prince Award. Solomon Reed hasn't left the house in 3 years, 2 months, and 1 day because of his severe anxiety. And Lisa Prater wants to help, but it's for her personal gain originally. In the end, it ends up being a really good read. There's a lot of twists and turns, and it really touches in the mind of what it's like to live with really severe anxiety. I give this book on a scale of 1 to 10 a solid 8.5. The next book is a classic. It's The Outsiders by S.E. Hinton. It is an absolutely amazing book. I read this book in 8th grade. I keep reading it because I genuinely love it so much. It has been worn to death, and it's an absolute classic and is great for all ages, really. It touches on some heavy topics, so I suggest reading this book if you're 6th grade or over. Out of 10, 8.5 again. Now, of course, I have to touch on a theater book. It just has to happen. This is a part of the No Fear Shakespeare collection. It is on Macbeth, and it is an easy translation so anyone can understand. I wrote a essay about this in my English class, so that's why it's like covered in sticky notes. But pretty much how this book is structured is you have the classic Shakespeare on this side with the black outlining, and then on the gray side with no outline is easy translation from how Shakespeare used to write and how in that time period they used to write into basic English. So, how now, you secret black midnight hags, what is it you do? That's the original text, and it translates in modern English to, what is going on here, you secret evil midnight hags? What are you doing? It's a very simple translation, and it's a fairly quick and easy read. It's a perfect book to annotate. I have it all completely written in, sticky notes everywhere. If you want to get into theater and you really only know Shakespeare, then this is a really, really good book to start with because it shows you the translations and it makes Shakespeare so much easier to understand. Highly suggest the No Fear Shakespeare. It is a solid 8, only because some of the words can be a little hard if you don't really have a wide vocabulary. The next book is a poem book by one of my favorite artists, Carolyn Kaufman. It is called When the World Didn't End, and it is a poem book about her life. And it starts in her early life, and then it goes to her teen years, and then it goes to what she is now. I believe she is 27? She has an Instagram called Poetic Poison. It's honestly one of my favorite books, and it's helped me through so much. I have a ton of good pages that I read, a lot of good poems in my opinions. There's illustrations all throughout the book, which kind of reminded me of Where the Sidewalk Ends and all those books that have all the really fun illustrations on every page. This is one of the examples. It says what could have been. So the book starts off by saying what was, what could have been, and what is. Those are the page themes, aka the chapters. So what could have been was her teen years, what she could have done differently. What happened was when she was younger, and then what is when she's older. It is an amazing book. I honestly give this book a 10 out of 10. It is one of my favorite books of all time. I love it. This I actually got free from my library because it was a discard book, and I immediately grabbed it. This is called My Heart and Other Black Holes. It does have some serious topic touch on with depression and everything like that, So if you're a younger kid, this is probably not going to be the best book for you. But if you are a high schooler or college student or 8th grader, this book is honestly truly amazing. This book made me cry, hands down. Hands down, it made me sob crying. It's My Heart and Other Black Holes by Jasmine Wanga, and it is about a 16-year-old psychic nerd, Isel, is obsessed with plotting her own death. It does touch on some hardcore depression, and pretty much she meets this person who also wants to plot their own death, but throughout the book, they become closer, and meeting the right people can genuinely change your life. Well, this book takes so many plot twists and plot holes, and it is so amazing. The character descriptions and everything about this book made me cry. So just for that, absolute 10 out of 10. My favorite of all time. To my final book, we have The Hate You Give by Angie Thomas. This has been, actually, for me being a white Caucasian female, this has been a really good, peep into what people go through. Being a person of color and being a minority and having to experience all of this. It is a heavy read. I genuinely feel like everyone can learn so much from this book, but it is about a girl who sees her friend get shot. He wasn't guilty, and it is about her coming to terms with, 1, the murder, and 2, living in the slums of her neighborhood and having to deal and cope with going to an all-white, very privileged school. Genuinely a very great read. It's a little bit heavier, so for that I give it a 9.5. But all these books I've talked about are absolutely amazing reads. The topics they talk on and touch on are very interesting and very different things that you don't really see a lot of good books on that people can genuinely understand. Whether it's, not really talking about the oppression of minorities or romanticizing suicide. These books do such a great job on touching on those topics. Once more for a recap, The Hate You Give by Angie Thomas, My Heart and All of Its Other Black Holes by Jasmine Wanga. You have When the World and End by Carolyn Kaufman. No Fear Shakespeare by SparkNote. S.E. Hinton, The Outsiders, and Highly Illogical Behavior by John Corey Whaley. These are some of my all-time favorite books, and hopefully I'll be reading more and I'll be able to get another, book review up on this page. But I highly recommend any of these books, and if anyone has any good book recommendations, I would love to hear them. I genuinely love to read. It's one of the things that has kept me really anchored during this time, because reading these transports me to another world. But these are all such great books, and I highly recommend anyone to read these. So that's all for me. Stay safe, stay happy, go outside, and stay with your family. Have a great day.